Hi everyone, this is a tutorial on how to set up a pacing guide or a term plan for students anytime during their term. The original idea was to set it up for the beginning of a student's term and walk them through 6 months of what their courses will look like. Or it could be used at any time. It could be at the midterm. Probably the last month of the term is not the most ideal time to introduce this, but it can be used kind of at any time. Um, the whole point of this program is to kind of make a quick and easy way of laying out a student's courses following the pacing guides. There's a lot of debate on how long a course should take. That's not something we really need to get overly into with students. This is more of just a visual aid type of reference. I call it a GPS program. It gives us a step by step, week by week breakdown of what to study each week, and it takes the guesswork out of what a student should be studying, and it helps them identify, are they on track, and as a mentor it also helps you, are they on track as well. So basically it's just an Excel sheet. As you can see on the left hand column, I've got all the dates for the months for a 6 month term, and then it's already predefined or pre-formatted for 4 courses for each term. In undergrad IT, typically 4 courses is about as much as they're going to get. But if you know how to do just some data manipulation in Excel, if they had 5 sheets or 5 sheets, I'm sorry, 5 courses, you would just select this additional or the column header in F and just hit Control C to copy, and then click into the next cell header, scroll over there in G, make sure it's highlighted and paste, and we still have the same functionality with drop down lists and everything like that. So if you do have more courses or fewer courses, it's easily manipulated. Um, but typically, if it's 3 courses, I'm going to show you to set up a new student typically that has the first 3 IT courses. The C182 is the intro to IT, and then the 2A plus courses, C393 and C394. So in this example, I'll show you we're only going to have 3 courses. Again, you just select the column header, and then in Excel it's Control minus, and it just eliminates the whole thing, everything over. Um, but to get started, basically we've got the courses in this term, and right in here in columns, row one, is where we have our drop-down list. And again, the first course would be C182. Here's all the course codes for all of the undergrad IT courses. Every course I can think of in there is in there. And basically you just select the course, and what it does is it predefines this is a 6-week course, and following the pacing guides, here are basically the headers for each week of the pacing. It doesn't look like much now, but we just want to continue on. This is the best practices to work with this Excel sheet. So the second course would be C393. So we just scroll down to C393, select that one, and then C394. So that's 12 units for a first term student. Again, we can go more courses, fewer courses, anything like that, but this is just to give you a basic idea. All of these cells that are colored, they're pre-colored for 12 weeks because every course has, or I'm sorry, the max time we have for a course is 12 weeks. Yeah, so I've kind of visually at a glance was able to kind of show where the limit of where our pre-defined or the pre-formatted information will be filled in. So at this time, we want to kind of make it look clean format for our students. So what I've done is I've just highlighted all of the excess rows and cells and just deleted it. And again, here's 2 more. And if you can see up here on the top, we've got a formula in there, and I'm just deleting it out of there. That way we don't let students or modify information that's not needed. Again, it's just deleting the formulas out of there. And then I go into the fill section, and then I just fill it. Oops, I needed to select all of these cells, and I'll just fill it with no fill, just to keep it clean, to make it look nice for students. That way there's not extra colors or anything else bouncing around the screen. So it's pretty straightforward. I just highlighted everything, hit delete, and then I just filled all of the empty cells with nothing essentially. In this, the student, I'm just having them listed as starting as November 1st. And so the general idea is you want to just have the students working on 1 course at a time. So I would highlight the additional courses we're going to start on November 1st. So I want to highlight everything under the number of weeks bar, and then I'll just copy, cut. So I hit Control C, Control X, and then I'll just select the first cell and the next column that's empty, and then I just hit Control V. So I just copied and pasted everything down. It's important that you do it in this way because again, the information is pulling from a formula, so it's not straight data in these cells. It's referencing data elsewhere. So again, it's a little tricky, but again, you just want to hit copy, cut, and then the first cell down there, paste it. And then again, to make it look nice, what I do then at this point is I just make sure everything is the grids systems all there just to keep it consistent. And you can see it right now at a glance. If the student is working just following the pacing guides, the straight pacing guides, they will be done the first week of April. You know, that's a great first term. If we look down, that gives them an extra month, an extra 4 weeks, essentially, to have everything completed. Once this is all kind of laid out, what I then do is I'll select the row header on this left-hand side and copy and cut this. And this is just my fast start kind of reminder. And then I'll throw this in here right before the January deadline. Again, this doesn't need to be totally perfect, but what I've done is I've selected row 11, just that column, and I right-clicked, and then I want to paste, or I want to insert the cut cells. And what that will do is it will shift everything down. And now, again, we've got a visual reminder of we want to complete at least our first course of 3 ECUs by this deadline. It's a good visual cue to have students, you know, at a glance, GPS know we want fast starts. If you get one of these courses done, you've got a 75% chance of completing everything that they signed up for in the term. So this is pretty much it. The main thing you want to do, well, not the main thing, but an important thing, what you want to do is you want to go and click Save As. If you click Save, this is the template that I've created. You've just overwritten the template, and we don't want to do that. So you always want to click Save As, and it's probably a good first step to do is when you open it up for a student, you want to just click Save As. And then what I would do is, this is me, Mike Cohen. I just put the student name and their student term, and for me, we'll just say I'm in term 10, and then I will save it in my planner folder. So now you can see here at the top, it's saved. My example planner file, I've got my template right here, and then the one that I've created. It's important to keep a hard copy of it for yourself for referencing later on, but just know that that is important. Save it as your student's name. That way you know what they're working with. These next couple steps, it's kind of up to you how you want to do this. And again, every student is different, and I'll show you this. General rule, if you highlight everything right to the left of the A column and above the 1 column, this is basically the select all button. So we want to select everything. And then in our home tab, we've got a format button. And then if I auto fit to row height, that basically means anything in the cell that's as, you know, as tall as it is, it will expand the cell to automatically fit that. So some courses, there's only 1 line and will look exactly the way it is. Other rows, it's got 100 lines in there and it will expand it out. And you'll see in just a second, it expands everything. Again, this is completely up to you. It's a formatting issue. Before you send it to a student, you can adjust the length, the width, the height of all of these cells. I'm going to kind of scroll out and you can see how big this can get. So again, I've kind of tested this out. It's good and bad to give students all of the information all at once. It can be a little intimidating to give them a big Excel sheet with all this information in there. So you may not want to do that. It's entirely up to you. If you want to select everything back, you just want to go select the row height, and then the default is just 15 to bring it all back down to what it is. But what you can do each week when you are talking to a student or send it out to them, you can just select that row again, and instead of highlighting everything, you can just do that 1 row. So now you're only dealing with 1 group of information for a student, or 1 cell, or 1 week worth of information. And typically the first week, it's a lot bigger than the most other weeks because you've got the preparing for success section. Sometimes it talks about accessing learning resources. But basically this information is just following the pacing guides. I didn't reinvent this. I didn't make up anything additional. It's not like Mike's secret, you know, tricks and tips for these courses. It's just following the pacing guides in the courses of study. Um, so we can see all of the information. Week one, this is what the student should be working on. There's no guesswork. There's no question of what they should do or what they shouldn't do. This is what we need to do to stay on track. Can they get through C182 quicker? Not in fewer weeks than 6 weeks. Absolutely, they can. But this is really a good guide for the students that do struggle, that do need help pacing themselves. It's difficult to get around the ease of use with this. They just know exactly what they need to do. So again, the formatting of it, it's entirely up to you. But here's one of the good aspects of this course as a mentor. Um, so we'll just say that I'm done. I set up the term for my student. I'm going to save it. And then now what I want to do is I have my appointment in my calendar. What I'm going to do is I want to open up the series for this student. Um, and so I've got my series open up. It's not the reoccurrence, so it's going to happen every week. And then what I want to do is go into that pacing guide or the planning tool, and then copy and then paste this into my weekly appointment that occurs every week. And then I save it. And now as I go through my calendar, I always have this. I'm looking forward now into December, and every occurrence I have, when I talk to my student, I've got my pacing guide, our term planner right here for my students. And then I just want to open it up, and then we'll just be in the third week of this term. I can go ahead and put this back to the default, and then the third week, what we're in, 14th through the 19th. So let's look at my guide on the 14th through the 19th. I'd have a conversation with my student. Hey, did you complete the test? Where are you at? I mean, this is the last week of that. The C182. Are we ready to start C393? Yes or no? It's a good conversation piece to have. But right now, I know where my students should be at the end of the term. If they haven't, if this C182 takes longer, we can talk about, hey, we've got 2 weeks to get to the fast start. Are you going to do it? It will help drive those conversations. This tool, guys, really, it's just information. Like I said, I didn't invent any of this content or anything like this. I've just kind of modified it and put it in a really easy to use format. But the main thing for this is it's a visual guide and it's a visual kind of reinforcement of consequences that will happen if a student delays for 2 more weeks. If 2 more weeks, everything pushes down, and now we only have 2 additional weeks in their term. So they might take 2 weeks here, and you can have that conversation. Hey, that's not bad. It's okay. It took 2 additional weeks for whatever reason. Now we only have 2 additional spare weeks, and then we can have a conversation of it's going to be Christmas soon or the end of the year. Like, we got to make sure we stay on point. We don't delay. If this C393 takes you 8 weeks, we got to make sure and really ensure that we're not running out of time at the end of the term or delaying for everything. What I was trying to say with this, it's guide conversations. This guide is here to help drive those conversations, have meaningful conversations with our students, and I think that's where, again, it's not a silver bullet, but that's where you'll get the greatest effectiveness out of this. So when I am working with students, I'm going to pull up my calendar appointment again. It's right here. I can talk to my student, and when I have my phone conversations, we'll just say that I was talking to him on the 12th, and I'll say spoke with Mike, and I can put completed, whatever my goal is, whatever. His goals for the week are, and then this is awesome. So once I go back into our planning tool, so let's just say that I'm starting with this goal. I can copy this. Good work in here, and I've got a pretty much a SMART goal. His goals for the week are preparing for success or will complete, like however you want to word it. You don't have to type this all out. It will help with our compliance. It will help making our note taking a lot more efficient. You can go back into last week's appointment and say like, my completed lab stem modules 1 through 2, copy and paste that, and then this week you can go ahead and copy and paste the next row down the next week. It's a great tool. I mean, it's very easy to use if you know how to manipulate Excel. And again, what I did was basically copy, cutting, and pasting. So, um, at a this is kind of it at a glance. I'm more than welcome to kind of walk you through this or show you what else you can do with it, I guess, or how to manipulate things. I did have one more example student to show you, and this is a good example of the midterm issue that a student will have. Um, Pull him up, I'm sorry. All my students, oh, basically this student is a military student. He has not one, two, three, four, he's got 6 courses because he needs to complete 18 CUs. And midterm for him was it's actually December. But I made this plan for him in with 4 months left. Let me scroll this down, and so we can see quickly at a glance what his term will look like if we just follow the pacing guides. And again, this is a general rule. If we follow the pacing guides, this is where he'll be. Height 15 again. So he started in November. He had to complete C164. And then second week of November, he should have started INC1. We can definitely debate if INC1 should take 10 weeks or not. But just following the pacing guides again, we can see how much time it will take for him to complete his courses. And we can see by the 4th course, at the end of his term, he's ran out of time. Just following the pacing guides, he's ran out of time. And now if we go continue on to the 2 additional courses, he's probably 6 to 8 weeks over. So in the conversations I have with him, again, I don't want to create this to say, like, here's what you should do. I mean, I guess we could create this and trim this down and say, okay, you need to take 2 weeks and give it at a guide, or give them the guide of get this done in 2 weeks and this is 4 weeks and whatnot. But you can show them and kind of give them a scare of the reality of, like, if you just follow the pacing as if you delay at all, you're going to be over 8 weeks. Like, you're never going to get your courses done. So I can have these hard conversations with them without me putting the emphasis or the onus on them of, like, Mike's being a bad guy and I'm just coming down on him. I'm just literally laying out his future of, if you don't study and delay, or you don't get that done in 2 weeks, and you take 10 weeks and 4 weeks and 4 weeks, you're never going to get your courses done. You're going to have GI Bill issues. You're going to have financial aid issues. You're just going to be here, a lot longer than needed. And again, following the pacing guides, this is what his future looks like. So again, if you have a student with multiple courses that will put them over, it's good to show them, like, if you delay, you're going to be over. It's important that you get ahead. It's important that you don't take 10 weeks, that we try to trim this down in 5. And if they do get it done in 5, you can always delete it out once you're done with it and start copy, cutting, and pasting and moving things up, and then resend it. Resend the student with the revised one. You can definitely tweak these. These are not static by any means. They're dynamic. We can copy, cut, paste, move things around. If you're done with the students or these courses and you want to show them just a snapshot of where they're at, you can, move them and then move everything up. Again, it's a little data manipulation, but it forces us as mentors to be actively engaged in what the students are doing as well. So, again, it's copy, cut, and paste. It's not overly hard. You can kind of get some things messed up, and I've done it a handful of times. But Control Z is always my friend. If something doesn't work out right, hit Control Z. That's undo. Um, so that's kind of how this program works in a nutshell. Again, guys, this is very, very important. It's not the program that's going to make or break a student's success. It's the guide to help them see what's going on, but it has to be delivered with the conversation. We have to have conversations with the students about what this all means. And feel free to use it and utilize it how you want. So let's just go back to my example. I'm working with my student me. So once I'm done, whether it's the midterm or at the term, at the beginning of the term, I have a term, or I'm sorry, template emails. So we'll just say that I'm starting my term. It's a templated email. I've already formatted the verbiage for it. I'm more than happy to send this out to you. What I would do is fill out the student's name, just type in their first name, really easy. And then what I've done is I've created a folder of all of the pacing guides. Every pacing guide for every course is in this folder, which again I will share with you. But then what I would do for the 3 courses, we've got C182, C393, and C394. So I'm just going to copy them all, and then I would just drag them into the email. Wherever that email went, sorry. Gotta pull it up, sorry, it's not working for me. Drag it, and then drop them into the email. So now they have the pacing guides, which are great references if you haven't seen these. Instead of having an Excel sheet that might blow up if they try to print it out to 12 pages, basically each pacing guide is about 2, 3, maybe 4 pages that I would highly recommend that you have your students print out and have by their computer and just have a checklist of and this is the exact same information. It seems redundant, I know, but it's static. It's very one-sided. If the student doesn't do it and it's week 1, well, I don't know if it's week 1 in November or week 1 in December. So yeah, I highly encourage students to print these out and put it by their desk, and now they know. And when they hit the preparing for success week 1, cross it off. Put pen to paper, cross it off. When they get to the systems aspects, great, you're done with week 1's work. And we go to week 2. But again, it's a good way for them to print it, and it keeps all the information kind of at a glance as well. So I would send all the pacing guides to them, and then I would also attach the study guide there, and you're good to go. It basically kind of reiterates a conversation you should have. We'll reference these pacings each week, and it's important that you reference them during your conversations. Otherwise, it doesn't really stick or it's not helpful. So it's important to be consistent. The main thing that I include in here is I think we can definitely trim down the time that these courses take. But it's just the base time layout for each course to give you an idea of what the expected timeframes are to complete each course. I mean, that's basically it. It's what the basic layout is for each one of these. So don't give them the impression that, oh, it's going to take you 10 weeks to get through INC1 if you feel they can get it done in 4 weeks. If there's a course that's going to take them 4 weeks and you know that they struggle, you can kind of allot for that as well. But again, I call it my GPS guide. When my GPS tells me to turn right, in half a block, I just do it. I don't really question it if I don't know where I'm going. And oftentimes students don't really know where they're going. So this helps them identify what do I need to do to be successful. And then once this is filled out, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Student's address, their name, the pacing guide's an Excel sheet, and then just hit send. And you're good to go. You're good to go. So if it's the midterm, basically I have a template midterm. Hey, you're at the midterm. You've got 2 more courses. Here's how your courses look. This is what we need to do, and you can show them again how much time is involved following that pacing guide. So, you can definitely reword the emails in your own voice, however you speak to your students. It's important to kind of make this personalized for them. You can just give them a blank email if you wanted to. Not that I think that would be great, but it's important to kind of give them something and let them know, like, I'm going to be emailing you this. You take a look at it. Make sure we get through week 1 this week. I know this is going to be new to students. You're going to have to introduce it to them, but it's important to have these for everybody. So yeah, you can see I've got how many guides so far? I don't know, probably in the mid 40s to 50s so far with my students. 47, 46, 47 that I've created so far for students. So again, it's a good tool to use. It's important to ask questions if you're not sure, or if the pacing doesn't seem right. Definitely work with me, talk with me. But it's really straightforward, easy to use. And then yeah, I got the master's program as well in a separate Excel sheet.